Cape buffalo versus hippopotamus. Who would win a fight? Dangerous animals in every corner of the world. Sharp teeth of lions and tigers, powerful muscular bodies of bears, relentless hunting tactics of wolves. But danger isn't exclusive to the carnivores. You don't have to be a predator to be deadly. Just look at some enormous non-predators of Africa, the Cape buffalo and the hippopotamus. They're so dangerous that even the apex predators are wary around them. So, these two that scare the apex predators, what would happen if they went up against one another? Who would win in a fight between a Cape buffalo and a hippopotamus? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and pull up a chair for a front row seat to this fight. What do they look like? Let's make sure we know just who we're talking about here. Cape buffaloes and hippopotamuses, two humongous powerhouses on the African continent. First off, there is only one species of buffalo in Africa, but there are 4 subspecies within that species. Forest buffalo, West African savanna buffalo, Central African buffalo, and lastly the southern savanna buffalo, also known as a Cape buffalo. A Cape buffalo is a type of bovid. When compared to other bovids, it has a long but stocky body. It's generally longer than a water buffalo. However, water buffalo are taller and heavier. Cape buffalo are one of the heavier animals among the bovid family, but they don't crack the top 5. In fact, they're the 28th heaviest land mammal in the world. They can be over 11 feet long and can reach up to 2,000 pounds, and a lot of that is muscle. They're recognized as one of the most muscular and powerful buffalo in the world, whether you're looking at their limbs, their back, shoulder, or their strong necks. And don't forget about those horns, the bases coming so close together that they create a shield on the head, and with a total length of 6 feet in some cases. Now, the hippopotamus doesn't have horns, but he's got an even bigger body than the Cape buffalo. The only land mammals regularly larger than the hippo are elephants, and some rhinos too. Hippos can reach 17 feet in length and 5,000 pounds easily. Some hippos exceed 7,000 pounds, and in rare instances they can hit 9,000 pounds. When you look at a hippo, your first thought may be that he's got a lot of fat on him. Common misconception. There's some fat in there, sure, but they actually have extremely thick skin. A 2-inch thick layer of skin gives them a chubby appearance, but actually, the hippo is extremely muscular. And beware that mouth. It isn't just large, it opens to an incredible angle, 150 degrees. That's the widest angle any land animal can open their mouth to. You don't want to be around when that thing snaps shut. Where do they live? You, a minuscule human, may want to avoid these huge mouths and long deadly horns. So what areas do you need to stay away from so you never stumble upon these gigantic animals? The Cape buffalo, also called the southern savanna buffalo, is unsurprisingly found in savannas in southern Africa, but you may also find them in grasslands, bushlands, and near lowland rainforests. They also inhabit areas of Africa that push a little farther east. Cape buffaloes can be found in countries like South Africa, Eswatini, Botswana, Mozambique, and Malawi in the south, and also in Tanzania and Kenya in the east, along with several other countries. The other buffalo subspecies inhabit other countries in Africa, but the Cape buffalo has a fairly wide range in southern and eastern Africa. Now, the hippo is found all over the place in sub-Saharan Africa. You can find them in many similar countries like South Africa, Botswana, Mozambique, Tanzania, and Kenya, to name a few. But their range spans north to Central African Republic and Chad, and it stretches far to the west, to Benin, Togo, to Sierra Leone, even to Senegal and the Gambia. Pretty much anywhere that you can find large bodies of water, then you might find hippos. They live semi-aquatic lives, spending much of their time in rivers, lakes, swamps, and mangroves, and then coming out onto the surrounding land for certain reasons, primarily to eat. Food, now we're talking, because these are some big boys. How do they get so big? What do they eat? In Africa, the predators get big off of eating meat, like the leopards, hyenas, and lions. However, there are plenty of other animals that get even larger, and they don't eat any meat. That's true for the giraffes and that's true for the zebras, both outweighing even the largest lions. How about these two animals that we are focusing on today? The Cape buffalo is about twice the weight of a zebra, and just like that striped herbivore, he too is an herbivore. The Cape buffalo's diet consists primarily of grasses. If they didn't have fresh green grass to eat, they'd deteriorate rapidly. It's the main reason for their large size. They spend much of their time throughout the day grazing on grass. And just like their cousins, cows, after grazing and feeding on the grass, they chew on the cud. If you're not familiar with cud, it doesn't sound so pretty, and you'd never want to order it at a restaurant. Many bovids will regurgitate the food after having eaten it, creating the cud, so that they can extract more nutrients from the food they've been eating. Not a pretty visual, but it's the way that they feed themselves so well, and get to be so big. Now, hippos are even bigger, so do they eat any meat? Not usually. In fact, the answer is never for most hippos, and they still remain enormous. However, some hippos have been observed on occasion stealing a carcass away from predators, but this is usually when they have had a lack of food. For the most part, hippos love grass, just like Cape buffalo. They come out of the water before the sun sets and graze on nearby grass and plants, setting out on predetermined paths most times. They'll occasionally find fruiting plants and feast on that, but they mainly stick to grass, and in fact, they can eat 110 pounds of grass in one single night. Both of these animals have gotten gigantic from eating mainly grass. They both dwarf the lions, but aside from their eating habits, what else do we know about them? How do they behave in the wild? Cape buffalo have a democratic way about them. The core of the herd is made up mainly of related females and their young. Then there are sub-herds, but they're not at the top of the hierarchy. This includes subordinate males, high-ranking males and females, and the older buffalo. When the herd wants to decide which way they should go, the females will stand up and shuffle around, and then lay back down facing in the direction they should go. It's like they're voting. After the votes, the herd can decide which way the majority wants to go. They set aside the hierarchy and dominance. Every vote counts, from the women anyway. When they're chased by a predator, they move together and keep the calves shielded at the center. Most predators, even lions, go for the calves because the adults are too difficult to bring down. But regardless, if a predator does attack a member of the herd, a calf or an adult, the other buffalo will react to the distress call and save their buddy. If that means chasing off the predator, attacking the predator, trampling it, whatever they have to do. In many instances, the Cape buffalo are so strong that they kill the predator. Yes, even full-grown lions. Hippos will stay in pods, similar to how Cape buffalo have their herd, but their pod is run much differently. They operate under the more common system, a dominant male being the alpha male. A male hippo will claim his territory, which is just in the water, not the land. That territory could range from 300 feet to 1,600 feet. The alpha male hippo, the bull, has access to all the females, cows for breeding. There are other males in the pod known as bachelors, and they are only allowed to stay as long as they defer to the alpha. However, some young bulls will challenge the alpha for dominance. The pod may contain up to 100 hippos, and they spend much of their time in the water lounging. Bachelor males with bachelor males, females with females, and the alpha male alone. When they leave the water to eat, they do it individually, not together. They don't form many social bonds. However, if a lion or other predator attacks a member, or just gets too close, well, those hippos are known for mauling lions as well. What if they fought? The Cape buffalo and the hippo have shown us the many ways that they are large, strong, dangerous, and especially vicious when it comes to defending themselves against lions. What about versus one another? These two animals are two of the lion's worst nightmares. They've seen their friends meet their untimely ends against plenty of Cape buffalo and hippopotamuses. They're probably as curious as we are to see which one would prevail against the other. It might be the matchup in Mozambique or the brawl in Botswana, but either way, it appears our Cape buffalo has gotten too close to our hippo's territory in the river. Or perhaps the hippo has neared a herd of Cape buffalo, and there are too many young needing to be protected. Neither one is out to kill for meat, but each knows the other is dangerous and could inflict pain. They have to hold their ground. The Cape buffalo loves to charge, and here he would do exactly that, able to reach top speeds of 35 miles per hour. That's a lot faster than the hippo's top speed of 19 miles per hour. He'd have trouble evading this incoming attack. The Cape buffalo will often use those massive horns and that powerful neck to dig under a lion or hyena or leopard that's trying to attack their young and thrust upwards, flipping them into the air. That Cape buffalo's neck is strong. Yes, it can flip a 600-pound cat, but can it flip a 6,000-pound pachyderm? No, not a chance. That doesn't mean those long horns couldn't still be used to puncture at the point of attack. However, the hippo's skin is thick, 2 inches thick. That's how they can withstand many bites from long teeth. However, there's not an animal alive with longer teeth than the Cape buffalo's horns. Those would push past the thick skin and dig deep into the hippo's body. A puncture from those horns would do some damage, but the Cape buffalo would not only need to exact that one stab, but several more to do the hippo in. And once he's that close to the hippo, trying to inflict several attacks, the hippo is keen on swinging his body and unleashing damage of his own. The hippo doesn't have horns, but he has a massive weight advantage. He's destroyed lions in the past, and though the Cape buffalo is likely 4 times the weight of the lions in the past, he's still 1/3 the weight of the hippo. The hippo could swing his body around, raising up and slamming his powerful body onto the buffalo and inflicting serious pain. There aren't many animals in the world larger than a full-grown hippo, and though the Cape buffalo is huge, he's not that huge. That hippo weight bashing repeatedly on your back and neck and head, that's a lot. And should the Cape buffalo use his higher level of agility to avoid these attacks, or most of them, he still has to watch out for that hippo mouth. Not only can the hippo's mouth open to an incredible 150 degrees and be able to close down on the Cape buffalo, but it should be mentioned, even though the hippo is an herbivore, he still packs a powerful bite. The strongest bite of any herbivore on the planet, stronger than a bite of a lion, a tiger, a grizzly bear, a grey wolf, a bite in the top 10 of animal bites. 1,800 pounds per square inch. No herbivore needs to bite that hard, but this one can. The Cape buffalo could have a chance, but he'd need to make quick work with his horns, inflicting several stabs before the hippo could retaliate. Yes, he's also powerful with his hooves and heavy body, but his real advantage is the horns. He might have a 25% chance if he acted quickly enough, but the fight goes in favor of the hippo. He's too big, he's too strong. In the end, the hippo is just too much.